Hey, Buff Crushers. I wanted to do another video about simming real quick, just to kind of give you guys an idea about how um, this should go. This is like a quick summation of how to, get an idea of your rotation, how it should be for single target, things like that. So, ideally, what you're going to do is when you come to the Ray bots, you're going to go to Quick Sim right here. You're going to copy paste like so, and you'll be ready to go. Now, I wanted to explain a couple things that I forgot to mention. First off, for the SimC version here, you always want to put this on nightly. The reason why you want to put this on nightly is in case there's any overnight bug fixes or changes that you do not know about. This could affect your DPS overall. Just depends, because not every night is there an update, but every now and again there's a little side patch or side note fix that they don't even mention, and this could actually change or make or break um, how your DPS goes, depending on what it is. Always keep fight late 5 minutes, one bus, of course. Now, this is something. Now, if you have a domination set bonus, if you didn't know this Mythic Plus, this doesn't affect Mythic Plus. So you basically want to keep this unclicked unless you're in raid. If you're doing a sim for raid, then click this. IQD. If you have the IQD, as you saw in the last video, this is a very skewed um, sim. The reason why is IQD just gives a massive amount of secondary stats every 3 minutes. So when you're simming for 5 minutes, you're only going to get one sim out of it. Um, so basically, if you don't have the IQD, keep it disabled. If you do have IQD, uh, yeah, you can keep it. Just go ahead, keep it at 100, and just see what you get. Have fun with it, but just know that your DPS may go up or down depending on what exactly is going on with the IQD in the sim. I mean, also all of this stuff, just keep it at default. Uh, it doesn't; these don't really matter. Apparently, I did some research on this. It doesn't really matter. Now, this is gonna be really cool. This is the next big thing before I go ahead and run this quick sim. Whenever you are simming for single target, I had someone ask me what are the differences with using all of these. Okay, you do not want to use any of these besides patchwork. This is the most accurate of your DPS, right? And you're gonna see here in a minute why. Um, you really want to just keep simming single target with patchwork, no movement, single target. This is your perfect rotation set. Set everything like nothing gets messed up. This is what your DPS would look like, and then you kind of can understand an idea with everything else why where you're messing up and how to fix it. Now this is what's going to get really cool. I actually asked Dorky. He was actually talking about this on his video the other day, and he was talking about the differences between why Mythic Plus runners actually focus on their single target DPS versus their AOE, right? First, and when they do sim, they usually just sim for patchwork, right? They try to get that single target up really good because if their single target gets really really good, then their AOE is going to improve as well. Of course, they have alternate pieces of gear depending on their fixes, and of course depending on what week it is for, and etc. Now, the other big reason, now this is the part I didn't know. The other big reason why a lot of Mythic Plus Sims, you want to be careful with what your DPS would say about your DPS is this little part right here. And I didn't even pay attention to this. But if you click it, it pops up. I already had it open. If you click it, this will pop up. And this actually goes into detail explaining how the beta sim works, right? Um, so this is read this part. This is the version one of the first of the fight style, and further improvements, refinements are likely. Not all class modules have full support at this time. So right there, not all class modules have full support at this time. This means certain classes, certain specs, we don't know which, are not getting their correct full sim, right? So when you sim for AoE, you're not getting you possibly may not be getting all of the correct sims, right? And this is why a lot of them are like, you need a little haste and a little mastery for AoE. So get a couple pieces that up your haste mastery like 2, 3, maybe 4%. But other than that, really focus on your single target because this is not uh, accurate. Now, he did say it's not far off from being accurate. It's not far off. and he said the margin of error is not it's not big. I think he said if you were to scale it, it's probably like 90%, maybe 93% accurate, right? But you still got that 8% or 10% difference, which can make or break. So this is why they sim for patchwork. Now, anyways, after you get all this set up and everything, I thought that was really cool to explain. After you get everything set up, you get all your gear on, that's correct. You got to make sure you do that too first before you do your coding. So make sure you have all your correct gear on, you have your top gear, you did all your stat weight sims, all that stuff from the last video that I talked about. You do all that and you put it on, copy paste the code. All right, you got to recopy paste, come down here, run the quick sim. All right. And this is going to pop up what your DPS should be like to a T. All right. From the moment you pull the boss to the moment the boss ends or the boss dies. It tells you exactly what your damage breakdown should be, how many casts you should have of a certain ability, um, how often it should have been used, the uptime for dots and things like that, right? How many your usage of or your DPS from um your usage from your buffs and things like that, even right here, right? All of this stuff. Now this is what kind of threw me off here. This is a legendary that we get. So every 300 extra power, in 5 minutes, I can spend probably 3 counts of astral power, 900, right? I could spend a lot because it's 300 astral power, so I could probably spend like 900. So it's saying one makes me think that I'm really messing up somewhere. Anyways, but this is where it gets really cool. And this is where I love this part. So it even breaks down your rotation, like how it should be to get this number. So to get this exact DPS, right? Not moving, fuck, basically just tunnel vision pumping, right? This is the rotation you need to do. This is all the buffs you need, right? So obviously, as boomkins, we need to do a precast. We need to have max range from the boss. And at 4 seconds on the timer, we cast 2 wraths so that by the time we start catching Starfire, the first wrath would hit. This is why pre-pulling the boss is a very bad idea, because if you have boomkins in the group and you pre-pull, you're screwing over your boomkins, which if you guys haven't noticed are your number one are pretty much the number one casters on the DPS chart right now. So you're pretty much screwing them over when you pre-full. Stop doing that. Anyways, so you precast 2 wraths at max range, then you get your proc of your lunar, and then you start casting Starfire. By the time you are casting Starfire, the first wrath would have hit, the timer would have hit 0, and boom, you're on the boss. So now that procs Moonfire's dot incarn prepot loon Star Surge convoke Star Surge berserk, and then you just hint and repeat like crazy and just spamming wraths, Star Surges, redotting, spam, and continue hits and repeat, right? This is for every class, by the way. This is why this is so cool. So every class can get this breakdown of how their inting or their rotation should be. And if you read it carefully, you'll see how it kind of works, how it breaks down slowly the rotation, what you should be doing, how to do it effectively, efficiently, and all of this stuff is happening. It's really cool. And again, this isn't taken into account, moving. This isn't taken into account, having a pop in immunity, things like that. And it's definitely not taking into account taking damage, because with this trinket, if I fall below 50%, my stat decreases, right? So that's that's not good. um so it's not taking into account taking damage and stats going up and down, things like that. But it's still cool to kind of get an idea of how your um your DPS is going to go. And then of course the hunt tactic, yeah, that's the buff from the Korean. Um, but I thought you guys would like this. So if you guys want to get an idea of how your rotation should be, how your opener, your burst, your big numbered DPS should go, I highly recommend uh, doing this quick sim. Again, Raybot's quick sim. There you go. I hope this helps. You guys have a wonderful Saturday.